Welcome to the ClickFarm Modx tutorial for miscellaneous services and features. We're going to cover a couple of auxiliary features that you may run into when managing content inside the Modx system. So the first and most common occurrence would be for content editors when modifying content or adding new content to a page, that they're not immediately seeing those results to the front end of the site. So one thing to note with Modx is that it does use a caching system built into it, and with caching it allows the pages where these dynamic content and components are built to get stored locally on the system, so that the next time a visitor accesses that page, that the content is delivered much faster, because all that dynamic content doesn't have to be regenerated. And in doing so, one of the downsides to that is you might have some latency between getting content updated and actually viewing that on the front end of the site. So there are a couple of workarounds to that, and the most notable one is what's called clearing the site cache. You may be familiar with clearing your browser cache through other experiences, but that will not impact a server-side caching. So that's what we're going to work with today on the Modx system. So after logging into the manager interface, an editor can go to the site, and from that menu they can select clear cache. That'll bring up a quick console window which will show that the caching of the system did go ahead and get cleared out. We can see the 3 bottom messages all state successful at the end, so that content should have been cleared out of that. So again, an example of that would be if you had created a new page, modified it, and did not see those changes. So in this case, we created a new page called Modx Training, and we can notice that this template is different than the home template of the site. So even though we created this page and saved it, and we modified that page on the back end, its template is set to basic, which does match the same one for the home page as basic, but we had still seen the rendering of the other template on there. So by going to the site clear cache again, we can quickly force Modx to regenerate that content, and then when we refresh that page, we can actually see that those changes were indeed applied to the system. So again, the quick clearing of the cache on the system by going to site clear cache will allow us to immediately update all the content generated by the site. The only downside to this is the next time visitors view the page, if there's a lot of activity or a lot of dynamic content on that page, the first time it loads, it might be a little bit slower than normal, but additional requests for that page should be a lot faster. So another item that we commonly run into when managing the sites in Modx is what's called package management. Package management is where we access and download add-on components or extras to plug into the site that gives us additional features and services. So we can manage those by going to System, selecting Package Management from the drop-down menu. And when this loads, we can see a list of all current packages installed on the system. And this may vary again depending on your site and installation. So if there were any updates, we can quickly update those items here as well. So what I've done is I've already gone through the file management FTP program and uploaded a new package to the site that I want to get installed. So we can go to the download extras, and to the right of this we can see this little down arrow. If we click that, we get a couple additional options. And because I manually installed this package through FTP, I want to do a search locally for packages. Search locally tells Modx to not go outside and look at its repository, but to actually look on the file system in its designated folder for any new packages that are not already listed in that main view that we saw. So we go ahead and click yes to the notification window, and we can now see there's a new package called MX Calendars, which is indeed the package that I had loaded up through FTP. We note that it's grayed out and it does state in the installed column not installed. So if we go click on the install button, it'll walk us through the installation process of adding this new extra. Before we complete that, I do want to show too that some sites you'll see in the menu there's no components listed in here, and depending on the extras and packages, that menu structure may change and can be modified by the developers of the system. So these can show up anywhere in the menu structure and would be determined by the developers and noted as such. So if we go through the process, we can see the changelog. Changelog will show us any recent updates to that component or extra, the README file, any information the developer wants to do, and general licensing information. We can click on Setup Options, which will give us any default options that we want to select for the calendar. We're going to go ahead and do all the default ones. So what it's doing during this process is going through and making any database changes or updates, installing any new chunks, template variables, and snippets that will be used by that extra component. When it's complete, it'll come back with a successful install package message noted here in blue. We can simply click OK. And now we can see that the MX calendar row is black like the others, and it shows the current version and information. Now we didn't see any menu changes, so we need to go ahead. If we click on any of the other pages, and we'll go ahead and go to dashboard, we can now see that the components menu item is there, and we do see the MX calendar component is listed. So again, not all components or packages will render a new component item in this menu. So again, that's determined by the developer and installation process. That concludes this tutorial, and we hope to see you again on the next one.